Good morning, Fit Family. Happy Sunday. I wanted to do a quick video as early as possible. I guess it's 11 now. Wasn't thinking would spring forward. But I just wanted to show you how I meal prep so that you can write out your meals today and do your grocery shopping so that you're set up for next week. So the first thing I usually do is I just get a piece of paper and make basically like a menu. So on here I have Monday through Monday. I usually put an extra day just because sometimes I might not feel like cooking that, or depending on what I ate for lunch, I got to figure something else out. But generally that's why I make it the way that I do. So if you see, because I usually eat the leftovers, I try to do like every other day as like carbs. That way I get my carbs for lunch the next day, and then my dinner doesn't have any carbs in it. So that's technically what works best for me. So that's kind of how I lay out, picking out the menu. I also lay out, usually I ask my kids what they want for dinner that week, so that helps me, as well as I decide on maybe one, usually no more than 2 new recipes to try a week, because you don't want to feel like you're cooking all day. So you don't want to feel like, you have to do all this extra prep and stuff, which, that makes a difference too when you pick out a recipe that doesn't have as much prep. So I try to look for that as well. But generally, sometimes you might not like the recipe, so you don't want to set out for 7 new recipes this week and then you don't like half of them, and then you're not enjoying the food that you eat, right? So I have some pretty basic stuff. Like Monday, I just did baked chicken with green beans. So you could add a carb to that if you wanted, or you could just do a different veggie, a different kind of meat. So that's just a simple way to track your containers, because it's not put all together. It's kind of separated. Lettuce wrap tacos. I usually do tacos on Tuesdays, not all the time, but generally it seems to lay on a Tuesday. So for me that day, I wouldn't have any carbs either. So I would have to get that in lunch. Wednesday, this is a broccoli chicken mac, which is really, really good, out of the Fixate books. So that's a recipe that I will share in the group for you to have and add to your menu as well. Then Thursday, I just put beef strips with squash and zucchini. So no carbs on that day, but you could easily add like quinoa or rice or corn or anything like that, so that you could get an extra carb in. Friday, I have black bean soup. To me, it's majority carbs because of the beans. And then Saturday, I have Fiesta shrimp over spaghetti squash with roasted veggies. And then Sunday, I have turkey chili, which I can also share the recipe for any of this, actually. I mean, some of it's just stuff I threw together that's not really a recipe for it, but I'll still share. And then I put an extra day, I just put an extra Monday, and I put a Mexican chicken stir fry. So I do that also because I'll write in a new recipe. So right here, my new recipe on this is the Mexican chicken stir fry. I've never made that before. But the Fiesta shrimp, it's been a while since I've made that, so that's kind of fresh. But I didn't really plan out a lot because 2 or 3 of these dinners, I already have the food in my fridge. So I like to do that too. When I make my menu, I kind of look, okay, I got chicken in the freezer, or I got hamburger meat in the freezer. So I look at what I have in the house that I could make a recipe for. So that means less groceries that I have to buy at the grocery store. So that's what works best for me with my menu. And then I'll even take like the weeks before menu, and I'll look, if I decided I didn't cook something and that's left, like I didn't make the broccoli chicken mac last week like I wanted to, so I put it on this menu. So what I always do is I always start with dinner. That just helps me. So then when I use the sheet like this that I added in the files tab that you can print and use as well. So this has your container count, and I have it for all categories. So if this isn't your category, there's also, you know, I've loaded all of them in there. So you would just pull yours. So it shows me here like what my containers are, so I don't have to try to remember that in my head. They also have the 21 Day Fix app that also you can log in what you've ate, and it'll tell you how many containers you have left for the day. But with this, I just put my workout of the day on the very bottom, and then I work from my dinner. So I would write out my dinner. So Monday, if I lay out the baked chicken, and that's for sure what I'm cooking, because I don't always stick to this on this exact day. Like, it's laid out as menus for me to go to the grocery store, but I might not cook this on Monday. I might cook it on Thursday. So that might be kind of confusing for you. You can write it for what day you're going to cook it, but when I'm writing it, I'm just quickly trying to hurry up and make a grocery list to get my grocery shopping done. So I actually don't write on this until I eat it. So I would write my dinner out, or I would kind of know in my head, okay, I'm just having protein and veggies. So I would know that I have to get in the rest of my container. Well, my breakfast is always my shake. So my shake is a protein. And with my shake, I always have a banana. So that's going to be 2 of my purples, 1 red, and then 2 teaspoons, because I'm going to put my 2 PB2 in my shake. So right there, automatically my breakfast cross off 1 green, 1 red, 2 purple, and 2 teaspoons. Knocks out a lot of containers right there. So that's a good thing about your shake too. If you have it for breakfast, it's easy to knock out extra containers. You can put your fruit in your shake instead of having it. I like to eat it on the side. That's just me personally. But you can put it in your shake. You can add different stuff to knock out more containers, especially if you have more containers to get in. I mean, that really makes it important to remind yourself, because, you know, generally people think that they need to eat less food. So it's important to tell yourself, so you have the right mindset that you have to get in all this food every day. So anyway, that would knock out my breakfast. So then I generally write that in because I know it's what I eat every day. And then I know that for my dinner, I have it set out with no carbs that day. So that means my snack, my lunch, or my other 2 snacks, that I need to get in those 2 carbs that I'm not going to have with dinner. I have a veggie, which for me, veggies is an easy snack. I'll snack on carrots, snack peppers are one of my favorites. I snack on mushrooms. I mean, I'm really good about snacking on veggies. So that's usually how my 3rd veggie container easily gets thrown in there. And then protein. So I try to find proteins I can snack on, because typically, I'm not just going to grab a piece of chicken and eat it. That's not going to work for me. So I can eat cottage cheese, or I'll eat Greek yogurt to get in that extra protein. It just depends what's in my fridge, and I will look at the list and see, okay, well, I can use that as a snack, or that as a snack. So I'll go down the list of things that I could snack on this or snack on this. I've literally snacked on a piece of corn on the cob just to get in like an extra carb when I knew I wasn't having carbs for dinner. So just things like that is how I'm going to easily knock out those things. My blue container and orange container, that's my nuts and seeds. So I would generally have that as a snack. Usually it's my evening snack after dinner, because I don't like heavy stuff in my stomach. So I'll do my almonds to cross out that container, or my sunflower seeds. So that would knock out both of those containers for me. So I'll break those down into snacks. So I don't know if that sounds more confusing, the way that I do it or lay it out. And you can actually physically write it all out, you know, especially if you don't have your snack stuff in the fridge already, so that you are prepared when you go to the grocery store. And then you can like just cross it off as you eat it, if it's easier to write it and track it that way. For me, it's easier to know, because I'll cross off my containers as I write them down. And so I know, okay, I got this left. And so then I'll fill in the blank with what that is. But yes, if you have to prep and take it to work, then it's probably easier to write this all out and then prep it and put it in containers so that you just take the containers and then, you know, maybe have another sheet that you know, okay, this was my snack and this is what I ate, or just prep everything for all the containers and just take that and you know, okay, everything that's here I have to eat today because this is all the containers I need to eat today. So that helps too when you're prepping your lunch or dinner, depending on what night shift, day shift that you work. Let's see, how else about prepping? Oh, and yes, on the Team Beachbody blog, there are so many recipes. Sides to make with your dinners, actual dinners, desserts. I mean, anything you can think of is on there. And the good thing about the Team Beachbody recipe site is that at the very bottom of every recipe that they list, it will list the container count for each program. Different programs are different. So you would just look at 21 Day Fix and it will show you the container count. So that makes the guessing part, it kind of takes that part out of it because it's kind of already done for you. So you don't have to worry about that as much, where some recipes that you find on Pinterest or other things like that might be harder to try and figure out your container count, especially in the beginning when foods are mixed in and it's kind of confusing how you would gather that. And technically the way I do it, not everybody does it, but if the dinner is like all mixed in, say I have like the black bean soup that I make for dinner. So majority of that is black beans. So to me, it is majority carb filled. So I will literally do 2 carbs for my dinner. So I will do 2 of the yellow containers and that's my serving. And that will count as my carb. 2 carbs. So I know that that is 2 full carbs because I used my yellow containers. If you used a red or a green container or anything like that, your yellow count can be over because that container, you're going to have more in the green container, more carbs than what you would have in the yellow container. So I count it and track it in the yellow container because I know that I'm not getting more than I need. It might be a little less because I have tomatoes and stuff in there, but I'd rather be less than more on my carbs. So that's how I track that. And then of course I would look at it in my bowl and say, okay, well there's not much chicken in there. There's not much this. So I know that it's not a full red and a full green with my tomatoes and my chicken that is also in the soup. But then technically that soup recipe does count as a full red because I use chicken broth, which is also counted as a red. Yeah. So that's another thing that's not really listed in the book, but I'll have to find it and show you how to count the chicken broth. But yes, so that one is a little different. But generally, that's just how I do it. And that's something I can talk more about as we go through the week, or, you know, if you have questions, you know, you can post a recipe in the group and say, how would you count this? And I can help you figure that out. And then it will make more sense. Okay, oh, I understand what you're doing or how you're getting that. So the key is you don't have to be 100% perfect, but you want it to be as close as possible. So some of those recipes, when it's mixed in, it's hard to have that exact container count, but as long as you're close and you're not going over, it's better than trying to count it another way and it being over. You can also count your container count doing it before you cook the food. I don't like to do it that way generally because depending on if you're cooking something in a pot or how you cook it, sometimes it shrinks, like your vegetables. If I got my vegetables and prepped them and then cooked them, well, that's going to shrink down. So I'm not technically getting all the vegetables that I should be getting in. Or rice, you know, rice is going to expand. So you're getting way too much rice if it's done that way. So I don't do it that way. I always do it after it's cooked. So that's my preference. But I think rice or something like that might state like after it's cooked. Like I think oatmeal does and things like that. But still, I think I'm starting to ramble now. I hope that I have showed you how I do that enough where you understand to write out your food. And please, if you have any questions, just post them under this video so that I can answer them before you do your grocery shopping and before you plan out all your meals so that you're ready for a great week. Like, we start tomorrow. Can you believe tomorrow is day 1? Yay! Anyway, to me, it's just super exciting. But I did want to make one comment. We have, 20 people in this group, and I only have 9 or 10. I can't remember. Like half. Half of the group have signed up for the My Challenge Tracker app. We start tomorrow, guys. You have to log your workout and shake every single day. So I am a little disappointed that only half of you have already got started on that. Your measurements should have already been done so that you don't have to worry about doing that today. So now, if you haven't done that, log into the My Challenge Tracker app, accept the invite, log in your measurements, take your before and after, or before pictures, not after yet. And then you have your meal prepping to plan out for all of the week. So that leaves you a busy, busy day today. Also, if you have not sent the pre-evaluation survey in to me, please get that done as well. Have a nice Sunday. Bye.